Before he became a legend, he was just a poor kid in New Orleans, arrested at 11, sent to reform school, and handed a broken trumpet that would change music forever. What if I told you that the sound of joy, the voice behind "What a Wonderful World," came from one of the most painful childhoods in American history?
I see trees of green. I see them blue.
Stay with me, because this story isn't just about jazz. It's about rising above everything. Louis Armstrong was born on August 4th, 1901, in one of the toughest neighborhoods of New Orleans. His father abandoned the family when Louis was just a baby. His mother, often absent, left young Louis to fend for himself, working odd jobs just to eat. He dropped out of school at the age of 11. One New Year's Eve, young Louis fired a pistol in the air, celebrating like others in the neighborhood. But police didn't see it that way. He was arrested and sent to the Colored Waifs Home for Boys, and that's where the miracle began. At the Waifs home, Louis met the music teacher, who placed a battered cornet in his hands. The metal was dented, the valves stuck, but to Louis it was gold. He practiced obsessively, often sneaking out of bed to play under the moonlight. That broken instrument became his lifeline. It was how he found his voice when the world tried to silence him. After his release, Louis began performing in the streets, on riverboats, and in dance halls. He caught the attention of jazz pioneer Joe King Oliver, who became his mentor and brought him to Chicago. Armstrong wasn't just good, he was revolutionary. His solos broke tradition, his rhythms were unpredictable, explosive, and alive. Musicians had never heard anything like it, but this was just the beginning. Louis wasn't just going to play jazz, he was going to redefine it.
Well, people love me and my music, you know I love them. I have no problems at all with people. The minute I walk on the bandstand, they know they're gonna get something good. They know jive, and they know what they're there for, and that's why they come, and they leave very satisfied. I see to that, because I don't believe in getting up there and a whole lot of hokum. I made a statement the other day why you don't hear of a lot of musicians that got famous and didn't stay that way, because they had the wrong idea. They figured after they got famous and they're playing to a crowd of people, they ain't playing for them from the heart, which gave them the reputation. They got so big now they're watching the box office. Instead of blowing, they're up there watching the box office and forget about them people. And when you look around, you don't hear them no more. So you don't play your public cheap at no time. I'm the audience myself. I'm my own audience. And I don't like to hear myself play bad or sing bad. So I know I ain't gonna do it for you. But they didn't look at it that way, so they're right back in the sections, some of them, or if they're playing at all. And it shouldn't be like that. See the difference?
In the 1920s, Armstrong left New Orleans and joined Joe King Oliver's Creole Jazz Band in Chicago. He wasn't the front man yet, but when he played, people stopped breathing. His cornet solos were like nothing anyone had heard. Fiery, spontaneous, and fearless.
The ropes swaying and the band playing. One of our favorite tunes from way back when. Jumping over this, oh yeah.
Soon, Louis moved to New York to join the Fletcher Henderson Orchestra. There, he switched from cornet to trumpet, and the jazz world flipped. Louis didn't just play music, he spoke through it. He took the rough energy of New Orleans and polished it into something new, something magical. In just a few years, Armstrong had transformed jazz from group-based improvisation into a soloist's art form. He made the solo the center of attention, and with it he made himself unforgettable. As his fame grew, people began calling him Satchel Mouth because of his wide grin. That nickname was later shortened to Satchmo, and it stuck forever. Louis wasn't just revolutionizing the sound of jazz, he was creating its face. His charisma, his gravelly voice, his infectious laugh, audiences couldn't get enough.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mr. Armstrong, and we're going to swing one of the good ones for you. Beautiful number. I cover the waterfront. I cover the waterfront. I like it. Look at that. Look at that. One, two.
He wasn't a traditional singer, but his unique vocal tone and emotional delivery changed how people experienced music. Songs like Stardust, Blueberry Hill, and When the Saints Go Marching In became instant classics. But it was more than just the notes. Louis made people feel. He made them cry, laugh, dance, and most importantly, hope. At a time when America was deeply segregated, Louis Armstrong was a black man filling concert halls with white audiences. He toured the world, performing in Europe, Africa, and Asia. The president invited him. Foreign leaders praised him. He was more than an entertainer. He became an unofficial cultural ambassador for the United States during the Cold War. The US government literally sent him abroad as a symbol of American culture. But Armstrong wasn't blind to racism. When the Little Rock 9 crisis happened in 1957, he publicly criticized President Eisenhower for not doing enough. It was a bold move, especially for someone in his position. Louis was always smiling, but he knew the pain behind that smile, and he never forgot where he came from. Then, in 1967, when the world was caught in conflict and chaos, Louis recorded What a Wonderful World. It wasn't a huge hit in America at the time, but it topped charts in the UK and slowly began spreading around the globe. The message was simple but powerful. Birds, trees, babies crying, smiles between strangers. It was Louis reminding us that the world still had beauty. The gravel in his voice made the message feel earned. This wasn't naive optimism. This was hope from someone who had lived through hell and still chose to sing. By the late 1960s, Louis Armstrong was more than a musician. He was an American monument. His face was instantly recognizable. His voice felt like an old friend. People around the world didn't just love his music, they loved him. But behind the spotlight, his health was declining. Years of constant touring had taken a toll. He had heart trouble, kidney issues, and chronic fatigue. Yet, Louis refused to slow down. Music was his life, and he wasn't ready to say goodbye. Even when his doctors warned him to stop performing, he kept going. In 1969, he recorded We Have All the Time in the World, a soft, haunting ballad that would later be used in a James Bond film. His voice was weaker now, the breath shorter, but the soul still infinite. He tried returning to live performance in 1970. He walked onto the stage, smiling, waving to the audience. But he could barely stand. The crowd stood and applauded, knowing this might be the last time they'd see him. He gave them a wave and left quietly. Back at home in Queens, New York, Louis spent his final months in bed, surrounded by the things he loved: his trumpet, his reel-to-reel recordings, letters from fans, and a photo of his mother. He still practiced his horn quietly, sometimes just fingering the notes without blowing, imagining the music. On the morning of July 6, 1971, Louis Armstrong died peacefully in his sleep. He was 69 years old. Across the world, people mourned. Not just jazz lovers, but everyone. Black and white, rich and poor, presidents, pop stars, construction workers. Radio stations played What a Wonderful World on repeat. People lit candles. Some wept openly on the street. It wasn't just the loss of a musician, it felt like the world had lost its smile. But Louis didn't really leave. His influence is woven into every trumpet solo, every raspy vocal, every artist who ever tried to put soul before perfection, from Ella Fitzgerald to Billie Holiday, from Miles Davis to Stevie Wonder. They all drank from the well Louis dug with his bare hands. He didn't just change jazz. He gave it heart. He gave it laughter. And most of all, he gave it dignity. Louis Armstrong never forgot where he came from. He never let fame blind him to reality. And somehow, despite everything he faced as poverty, racism, illness, he still looked at this broken world and chose to sing, I see trees of green, red roses too. He made us believe that even in darkness, there's still something wonderful in the world. And that, was his greatest gift.